What up, Hyperchange? We are live, second live stream of the day. Wanted to do something a little more positive than talk about Warren Buffett buying Chevron. So we are talking about a piece of news I've been meaning to make a video about for ever since I heard Elon Musk talk about it on Clubhouse, which is this sort of internalized goal that Tesla could be selling 20 million cars a year. And to hear Elon say it and just vocalize it with a certain level of confidence that I hadn't really heard, I think was just fascinating. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I don't want to start my rant until y'all are in. But I just think Tesla, so I kind of wanted to reverse, the way I think about companies is you want to have a simple thesis for back of the napkin way to value the company, why you think it has upside, how you just understand the fundamental brain, way that it works. And so when I think about Tesla, it's how many cars are we building times the value of autonomy per car, or how much money you can get per car, which is really dictated by that autonomous package. And so really, when you hear Elon Musk give guidance about how many cars they're producing, that can really be the backbone of the entire thesis. And so recently on Clubhouse, Elon Musk was talking about long-term ambitions for Tesla, and he said that they could sell 20 million cars a year. And this is a number that has been floated before. It's not really new news, but I kind of wanted to just take a second and unpack what that means and think about it, because we look at Tesla today, an $800 billion company almost, but only generating, $40 billion revenue run rate. It's a 20x price sales ratio. How do we think about the valuation of Tesla today? I think that's so difficult. And so, here's Tesla. Let's see what they did in the last quarter, just to give you a flavor. 10.774 billion in revenue. I mean, a $43 billion revenue run rate for a company that's worth almost $800 billion. So how do we justify that? It's growth. And if you look at Tesla over time, they have had astronomical growth in their vehicles. They've been able to, hugely expand the number of cars they deliver every year, 500,000. I mean, you'll know this if you're Tesla bulls, but I just want to kind of explain this and then my thought process here, because I think it's not appreciated. Like, we know Tesla's blown up, we know it's huge, but look at how tiny this was. I mean, Tesla sort of before our eyes has gone from toy vehicle maker, 30,000, 50,000. This was a joke when Tesla was here, now to almost, 500,000 cars and soon millions of cars per year here. They've guided for 50% growth. That's going to be 750,000. I think that's a low ball. My estimates for Tesla here, I think we're looking at more like this, 935,000 cars, almost 1 million cars delivered this year. So Tesla is already becoming one of the world's largest automakers with this massive growth. So now the question is, where does this go? Where does this head, and how does that dictate the valuation? Because I think if you're buying in at 750 or 800 billion, oh, what up, Kevin? You're in, the live stream king. Curious what y'all think of this. But if you're buying Tesla today, I think you're inevitably pricing in a massive amount of growth in those units delivered. And so the 20 million number, to hear Elon have that as his own internal goal and know that he's scheming to get there, to me backs up everything, because I trust Elon. I think he's the one who sets all the goals and ambitious targets for the company. So how big is Tesla going to go? Are they going to be a premium luxury player, or are they going to go down market and really change the world and get everybody switching to EVs? I think that is the needle mover. If we go from $1 trillion thesis to 10 trillion, I think this is a $10 trillion company, or maybe 5 trillion just from automotive, because it's all about butts and seats, miles traveled. Right now, miles traveled in electric vehicles or Teslas are just 0.1%, 1% of all the miles that humans travel, maybe even less. But if we can get more Teslas on the road and have them do more percentage of the miles traveled because of autonomy, then we could be looking at 5, 10, 20%. And if Tesla gets there, if every human is driving around and with their butt in a seat in a Tesla, then you start to realize and rationalize how this becomes a multi-trillion dollar story. And so 20 million cars a year, there's about 2 billion cars on the planet right now, just that are driving around, I believe like 90 or 100 million new cars are sold every single year, but and then they last for like 20 years. And so Elon Musk said his goal to really, move the needle with Tesla, this mission-based company, is to be able to hit 1% of that 2 billion, to really replace 1% of the fleet per year. That'll actually move the needle. And so that's 20 million vehicles. So Tesla is, everything they're doing right now is to just strategically get, and I think once we unpack back from there, the valuation starts to make a lot of sense. So this is really simple math, folks, but Elon says they're going to make 20 million cars. I bought my Model Y for like 60 grand. How much is Tesla going to be able to sell per car? This is a really interesting part of the equation, because, they're going down market with the Model 2, or people hate that it's called that, but their cheaper mass market car, which is apparently going to be unveiled later this year, and potentially going to production next year into China. I think that's a big thing that people should understand about Tesla. Is Tesla's best-selling car that you're investing in to hit that $1 trillion market cap. Nobody even knows what it looks like yet. It doesn't even exist, but that it's sort of the culmination of that battery technology. And so this Model 2, I think, will be the best-selling Tesla by far. And then the question is it a $25,000 car with just the hardware, but then you have a $50,000 software package? I just paid $8,000 for my Model Y's full self-driving. Now it's $10,000. Soon it'll go to $12,000. That's already half the price of that $25,000 car. So I think the software component is going to be huge. And in my theory, Elon Musk has said, if you increase the utility of a vehicle from 5% of the time to 50% of the time or whatever, 5 or 10x increase in utility, does that mean we could be getting 5 or 10x more value out of that car? Does that mean that $30,000 car is worth $180,000, $200,000? That's kind of the thought process, or just loose back of the napkin math for how this Robotaxi works. And so I decided to price in, let's say it's a $25,000 Model 2 with a $50,000 software package. We're looking at a $75,000 thing that we're selling 20 million of a year. And I mean, this is just like really simple, but what does that equate to? 20 million times 75,000 equals 1.5 trillion in annual revenue. So if Tesla can sell 20 million cars at 75K a car, I think we're looking at 1.5 trillion in annual revenue. This is like 5 times more than Apple does. This is like triple what Amazon does right now. And this would be extremely high margin if you think about that 2/3 of that 75,000 is pure software, and they're already making 20% margin on that hardware. You're looking at potentially 60% profit, 70% profit margin, blended, at least over 50%, I would say. And so once you get to that level, I mean, half of the profit, if this is truly a Robotaxi network, 1 or 2 trillion in revenue, with more than half that flowing to the bottom line, you could potentially see $1 trillion in earnings. And this is the back of the napkin math that Elon Musk has said, where Tesla's only selling 1% of the fleet per year. Now, I do want to caveat that by getting with that much value, I think we're doing more than 1% of the miles traveled, because these are Robotaxis, and so they're getting a lot more use out of an individual car. But I think it's really important to just think through this back of the napkin math that is the fundamental crux of the bull thesis, is that if they can sell 20 million cars and at 75K a car and hit a 50% margin, we're looking at about 750 billion in operating income. You slap, a 20 or 30 times multiple on that. That gets you to like 20 trillion. I don't know. I mean, these are wild numbers. Fiat's increasing, dilution's increasing. I mean, a dollar isn't worth what it is yesterday, and that's just accelerating to continue. But it's mind-boggling to think that when you just crunch some of the numbers that Elon's saying, where you could be looking at hundreds of billions of dollars of earnings, which is like, would be making it one of the most profitable companies of all time, that justifies the valuation of one of the highest, valuation market cap companies of all time. And this is just the automotive business. And so it's hard to fathom how big of a fundamental value unlock this will be. And this is why, Elon Musk has said this will be the largest value unlock in all of history for any asset, because Tesla over the air is going to ship this update to people. So I don't know. I think this is the video's off. I'm really sorry about that. But anyway, so if we can generate 700 billion of earnings, I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about what this is, because I think it's easy to say, and it's easy to like get excited about these big numbers, but I also want to the Model Y, the Model 3, the Model S and X, those are only like 1 million units a year, 2 million units a year, even if we fully max out production. We need to come up with different cars to get us to that 20 million. That's why the Model 2 is so important. But the other thing I kind of wanted to share with y'all is this Cybertruck. Like, let's talk through this Cybertruck and see, the impact of this, because I think what Tesla's done here, not only is it so revolutionary in like design with the exoskeleton and just the way it looks, and it looks like this crazy alien piece of technology, but this is unrivaled performance for price. Like, I just put out my drag race video, which is so epic. I mean, the Model Y is a $60,000 car that drives as fast as a $250,000 Lamborghini. I mean, that same level of savage performance, like outdoing is going to happen with the Cybertruck, where it's going to be a $50,000 electric truck that crushes a $100,000 truck. And in many ways, a $70,000 Cybertruck tri-motor all-wheel drive will just crush. You literally couldn't buy a truck that's that good. So there's 1 million units pickup trucks sold a year just in the US. And so not as much around the world, but when you think about the Cybertruck and what it kind of represents from a utilitarian perspective, I think this is such a serious and interesting product when we talk about that 20 million volume, because it's practical in that you can move stuff around, but you can also fit 6 people in it. It's super rugged. It doesn't have paint. It doesn't have maintenance. It's not going to get scratched as much. So in terms of maintenance and upkeep, it's really, really economical as much as it looks dope. And I think this is kind of underappreciated right now. But if you think of the Cybertruck as this autonomous robotaxi tank that can carry people or stuff anywhere with 600 miles of range and a 4,000 pound towing capacity, I mean, this is going to be insane. Oh, it's also interesting. This used to be like 600, I think, but they changed to 500 plus. I'm not sure about that. So this is mind-boggling to me. Because I think the Cybertruck is really going to go beyond what a normal pickup truck is, and like deliveries in cities. Like, what if there's autonomous Cybertrucks delivering packages to people, delivering food to people? I don't know. I just think there's a lot of kind of untapped potential of what the Cybertruck is, and the way that it also has a huge battery pack. So if you're doing work and you don't need to bring a pickup truck with a diesel generator, you just have the Cybertruck. Like, so anyway, my point is the Cybertruck, I think, is an interesting 1 to 2 million unit piece of that $20 million equation. Then something else we heard on the conference call. This was also potentially one of the biggest things that I think happened on the conference call that took me by surprise. They're like, Elon, are you going to do that van? And he's like, oh yeah, we're doing a van. And so definitely, I believe, was his quote. And so I think the van concept that was the Model B microbus, or is it a Sprinter van? Is it a delivery van like kind of like the Rivian one, or is it a hippie van where you can live out of it like a VW van lifestyle? I don't know. There's a lot of ways the van could go. One of the most interesting concepts I saw, got to give a shout out to Alwyn on Twitter, he makes amazing renders of different Tesla concept vehicles, and he made this one. Y'all should definitely check him out, Alwyn Art, of the Tesla van concept that is super dope. And so I think the Tesla van concept. So this is like another kind of interesting, family car, but also ride sharing car that is also in that cyber styling. And I just think this is beautiful. So is this a product that really unlocks a lot of value in cities where, I don't know, I'm kind of curious where, what happens in terms of innovation on the vehicle form factor front from Tesla, because, the Model 3 and Y, as dope and amazing as those cars are, they're basically like, okay, this legacy box that was invented 80 years ago, that's the internal combustion engine, but we just switched out with all electric stuff and software made it better. But at what point does Tesla go to the drawing board and say, we need a totally new way, just a totally new form factor, whether it's for carrying, 8 to 10 people around cities like the bus, or is it the Cybertruck? I just think there's a lot of different ways where Tesla could innovate on that form factor of what a vehicle is. And that's what I'm really curious to see about the Model 2. Is the Model 2 even designed with the driver in mind? And I know nobody knows if this is actually what the Model 2 looks like or not. I Googled it. But this is kind of the concept that Tesla leaked This is like a concept that Tesla leaked, and apparently when they were trying to hire people for China, and this is the car they're designing from the ground up in China, this Model 2 $25,000 car. Is that what it's going to look like? Thanks for the super chat. But here's, I think, the big question with the Model 2. Is it designed, if they're going to unveil it in a year or so, is it designed with autonomy in mind? Is there even a steering wheel in this car? If it's designed for true autonomy, is this true Robotaxi product? Is it just, that 4-seat design with everybody looking at each other in the seat? What has Tesla done there? Where are the screens for entertainment? Do we want to talk to humans, or do we want to just look at a screen when we go around our Robotaxi? Like, I think there's, I don't know. I'm kind of really curious how this Robotaxi, the Model 2 prepares itself for the autonomous future. Because if you look at the Model S Plaid, the biggest innovation Tesla made there was in the interior to prepare yourself for autonomy. So, but anyway, I don't know. Going back to like my, hyperchange, my investing diary, I think why I wanted to make this video was just because I truly think, in my mind, I always thought Tesla selling a couple million cars was like the goal. But now that we've gotten to 500,000 and are about to hit 1 million, like I've had to really recalibrate in my head what I think this company can do, how big I think Elon Musk is going with this. Like they've always said they're going big, but the probability of certainty of them hitting 20 million cars to me actually is worth taking seriously now. Like there's a, I would say 30 to 40% chance that Tesla hits 20 million cars. I actually think they could do it in 2030. just in 9 years. Like let's think this out. So they're going to do about 900,000 cars this year. Then we get like 1.7 million in 2022, then maybe 2.5 million. Then it kind of depends on how fast from 2023 on, how fast are we scaling these factories? And I think that's a reason a lot of this has been de-risked. And I think the chance is so high is because it's just, we've already gone 0 to 1. Tesla's already built that gigafactory Shanghai from scratch to go from 0 to 500,000 cars in like a year and a half. So, or 2 years. So if they can already go from 0 to 500,000 in 2 years, I mean, in 2 years, soon they'll be able to go 0 to 1 million from one factory. And then we have 5 factories at once. You can see how they're adding millions per year of capacity in just the next couple years. It's pretty, and Elon Musk has said this, there's like a 50% CAGR for the, annual compound annual growth rate for Tesla's vehicle deliveries to increase. And so I think that'll continue going forward, and you can just extrapolate that and we get to 10 million pretty quickly. And so, whether it's 2028, 2032, it's going to happen. It's going to look increasingly certain. And, I don't know. I just think it's almost, to me, in my head, in the bag that Tesla will produce 20 million vehicles. So then you just got to back out the numbers from there. Now, in terms of autonomy, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here because Tesla, on one hand, they've released the FSD beta, which is amazing. We all seen the videos about it. But on the other hand, it's only been a couple hundred people. They've kept it like that for 6 months. When does the next big rollout happen? We're a long way from just people having this feature to it generating autonomous revenue. And so, as much as the stock market has been extremely patient with Tesla, looking far out, pricing in a mass amount of growth, basically saying like, this is going to happen. We're going to hit FSD. We're going to hit 10 million cars produced. Just 2 years ago, the pendulum was already swung on the other side where it was that Tesla can't do this. They're not going to make any money. We're only pricing in 1/4 of growth. We're only looking just this far ahead. And now we're looking way this far ahead. So if Tesla, I don't know. I'm just curious how long the financial markets will exhibit that level of patience with Tesla equity, because I think that's, it's easy to get wrapped up in the hype. Every day Tesla stock's at a new high. I think we kind of forget the fact that Tesla stock used to be like making new lows every single day. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff. And I also think that's a big reason that when you look at what Amazon and Apple are doing, who I would say are the two biggest, most ambitious, forward-thinking companies or even entities in the world, they're putting as many resources as they can into this electric autonomous vehicle push because they realize that is sort of the next digital frontier. So I think it's, in many ways, it's become like, nobody's going to take Tesla seriously if nobody's joking and competing with them. But the second you start competing with them, you sort of acknowledge that they're serious. You acknowledge the potential of this. And so to the people who think robotaxis are ridiculous and so far away and not the future, I would say, well, why is it's not just Tesla and Elon, it's, Google with Waymo, but I think they're going to fail. But Apple and Amazon are also pushing into this because I just think it's so obviously just ripe for this massive opportunity. And then once Tesla's selling 20 million cars a year, they're driving around. You have to also remember that we're still generating, well, let's say you have like 100 million cars on the road or 200 million cars on the road. Like your fleet builds up. So Apple's only selling, 50, 100 million iPhones, but they already have a billion or 500 million iPhones out there that they're selling software and services to. So that's the biggest thing. Like once Tesla unveils this robotaxi software, they're going to have 3 million cars on the road to upgrade as well. And so that's another level of revenue beyond just the vehicles that they can produce, is all the ones that are already out on the road. And then once you have, you get these fully autonomous and you have 100 million cars on the road, we're adding 20 million a year to the fleet. You can start becoming this Apple-esque services software app company and this massive platform for who knows what kind of software and services that will get built. And so, I don't know. I think it's, and with 20 million on the balance sheet, with 3 billion in operating cash flow last quarter, to me, it's almost totally inevitable that all of this will happen. The autonomy piece is really the only piece that I'm personally a little bit skeptical about, just being a natural skeptic myself. It's like, okay, Elon thinks it's in the bag, but, and so do the financial markets, which is maybe why that's the time to be skeptical. But, just in terms of unit volume, it's pretty amazing that Tesla, right now, maybe 800,000 run rate is doing 11 billion in revenue. Soon, you can easily see a path to them getting 7 to 8 million, 10xing from here and doing 110 billion a quarter. It's just a matter of time. And if you think about it, they've already de-risked it by knowing how to build the machine that builds the machine. The product is done. It's just about it sort of playing out in the financials and markets right now. And so, there's so many layers to Tesla's advantage: the battery supply chain, the 4680, the supercharger network, the brand, the direct sales approach. the aerodynamics and vehicle design, just the software. I think there's so much momentum right now that this is really going to be one of the most all-time, Peter Thiel says, like, you want to invest in monopolies. Monopolies are great things. All great businesses are monopolies. And I think, to me, Tesla is one of the greatest monopolies of all time emerging right now. If they can actually pull off this robotaxi and autonomous vehicle thing, I don't know. The math blows me away right now. Of 20 million cars times 75 grand a car, 1.5 trillion, half that's profit, 750 billion, 20x on that. We're looking at a $15 trillion company, which would still be a 20x from now. And that doesn't include energy, what they're doing with the grid, what's happening with HVAC. Like, I think a lot of what Tesla's doing right now, beyond the vehicle, has just as much exciting potential. Like, I don't know, that's not really the point of this live stream, but another thing, huge thing I think they're going to get into is this idea of like the energy grid and using software to optimize the grid. Like, if we bring on all these electric vehicles, all these electric trucks, we're going to be really, stressing the grid. And that is a problem, but every problem is an opportunity. And I think Tesla will also come along to solve that opportunity by creating huge elements of battery storage, by optimizing the batteries in your Teslas, by operating these sort of independent grids of energy that can work off each other. Like, there's this project in Australia they're doing with this smart home, where they have like this smart home grid, and they're using their auto bidder technology to like balance the grid and energy there. And I just think that's totally the future. Like, every home will be generating its own energy. And then, the parts that are generating excess energy will send it to the parts that aren't generating enough. And it'll be this crazy optimized balanced grid. We won't see any of this. But I think that the way we consume energy in our homes, not just in transportation, is totally about to get dominated by Tesla as well. And that's an equally tantalizing multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. And so, and that's also being significantly de-risked. Like, the solar roof, I think, is such a hard product to get right. But once they get that right, and once they build these big batteries everywhere, this is going to be insane. And so I think there's so many facets of this. And the other thing I feel like we're converging is like, okay, we have the van with deployable solar panels. We have the roof. We have Starlink. We have the Tesla HVAC system, the smart AC system. I don't know, like, to me, Tesla's getting ready to build your entire home as well. At some point, if we're installing your roof, we're building your HVAC, you're building your electronic system for your car, we're building the power, we're filtering your air. Why don't we collect water from your roof? Why don't we install Starlink on your roof? Why don't we just build your entire home, basically, so we can make sure it's secured and, it's airtight the way we want it. It's efficient with the space. The airflow with the space works to maximize efficiency. Like, I think the engineering resources that Tesla have are ripe to tackle housing. Like, I don't think, I'm looking at where I am right now. It's like, it's just like a wall that we built with these, like, I don't know. I feel like there's not much innovation here. And so, engineering, I just think Tesla, when you truly think about the TAM of Tesla, it's every single way that we produce, consume, and store energy, which is almost one of the biggest problems that humanity has. And so, I don't know, it's hard to fathom how far that goes and how much they're going to be able to dominate. I don't know. I was a little worried that Elon said he might not be CEO in a few years, but yeah, I'm trying to think of other moonshot products that Tesla could get into. Like, people have talked about the phone, but I don't think they're ever going to do that. Phones are relevant. The humanoid Tesla robot, that's a theory I've seen a lot of people have, is like Tesla could develop a humanoid robot with its vision-based, AI kind of thing. I don't know. I think that's a weird, creepy future, but Tesla is positioned to be the leading manufacturer of everything, including robots, and has so many advantages in robotic software. Like, if you think about a company as the value of the technology they have and that IP, you think about Tesla's AI chip, you think about, their battery technology, you think about their power electronics, their drivetrain, their AI with the perception of cameras to know where I am in a location, to move around. I just think there's so much embedded value there that it's going to be, that it's just hard to fathom. Like, I think they're going to do boats and planes as well. So those are other ends of the company. I don't know. It's weird because when you think about the bull thesis of Tesla, you're almost like, are they just going to take over everything? Like, literally every single industry. But anyway, so that's kind of my rant on Tesla. I don't know. I kind of wanted to just throw some moonshots out there and some good vibes, and just kind of update y'all on where I'm at with my bull thesis of Tesla. I'm holding on to all my stock except the shares I sold by my Model Y a while ago, and I'm hodling. I do think there's a lot priced in right now in the near term, but in the long term, Elon doesn't lose. He's going to do what he does, and what he wants to do is build 20 million robotaxis a year, and I just cannot do the math anyway than understanding that this is like probably a $1 trillion profit opportunity once they can operate this network with 20 million cars. If they have this monopoly, I don't know. I don't even think they need to have a monopoly over the autonomous software. They just need to be one of the leaders of an oligopoly, and there's a potentially $1 trillion profit stream. And it is insane to fathom, but that is coming. That is, how disruptive this technology is. How many humans are driving on the road, wasting time, wasting energy, wasting fuel and resources. If that could all be done with software, it would literally feel like magic and be an incredible advancement for the efficiency of the simulation. So anyway, 20 million Teslas, 75K, that's 1.5 trillion revenue. I think that's going to happen around 2030. We'll see. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great day.